Well, hello, my YouTube fellas and gals. So, in case you're new to my channel, I only use bookstore that I'm actually liquidating in the process of. And it's going to be a while though. And I show lots of books on here for certain prices. And if you're interested, you can contact me through Bendis Bookstore and More on Facebook or through Tammy's Makeup Treats at gmail.com and let me know what you're interested in. And then I can post it to my Etsy store by link, and then you can go check out just like you do Amazon or any other website. You can even do a guest checkout. This is lot 45. We are working on action and suspense, and woohoo! This is the last set of books for March that cleared off yet another bookshelf. So I'm so excited. So with that, because when I clear up a bookshelf, I can put my crafting items on it. So I'm so happy. So with that, we will begin. And even if you don't buy from me, that's okay too. This is also a resource center to show what kinds of books are out there. And hopefully I will continue to do this even after my bookstore is liquidated to show you some of my favorite books. Eventually I will get there. But in the meantime, you can look these up on your Kindle or Nook if you're interested in them and read them. Because I know some people like their tech gadgets. I prefer to hold a real book, but that's just my opinion. So we shall begin. This is By Dawn's Early Light by Philip Shelby. This is a 2002 copyright. That's what the book looks like. I always try to give you a condition, and this is attached because it looked like it was a library book. And these are for $3 a piece because they're hardbacks. This was originally $25, so you're getting a deal. So this is what the book's about, and I do love reading a synopsis so you know. Moving from the desolation of North Korea to the oak and leather preserves of Wall Street to the subterranean surveillance headquarters in the Pentagon, By Dawn's Early Light traces the journey of Sloan Ryder, a young straight-shooting financial analyst who gets caught in the undertow of a large-scale political maneuvering involving the United States' ever-sensitive relationship with China. Boy, doesn't that sound familiar even today? While Washington, Wall Street, and Beijing jockey for position in East Asia, Sloan uncovers a plot woven by some of the most eminent figures in government to murder the first woman president of the United States. As she frantically pieces together a series of strange but seemingly unrelated events, her trail leads her to the handyman, a merciless killer for hire. Suddenly, she's been playing a deadly game of cat and mouse where each move could be her last. By Dawn's Early Light is a Roman candle of interlocking conspiracies, false bargains, of shadowy alliances with unlikely parties, a high wire act of collusion, and a double cross in the shocking plot twist that will keep readers reeling till the very last pages. This sounds like a good one. And this will be removed because that's just my receipts at the back, my post-it notes. The action suspense section, so you know it's going to be a variety of books. It's whodunits. It could be military, that's action and suspense. Anything that keeps you on the edge of your seat. I'm not the library. I don't, take details with every little section I do. So you're going to see a mixture of books especially in the action suspense section. Book number 2 has no jacket. It's called The Tristan Betrayal by Robert Ludlum. The book is, and yes, I do have these little inserts, in the fall of 1940, the Nassar, at the height of their power, France is occupied, Britain is enduring the Blitz and is under constant threat of invasion. America is neutral, and Russia is an uneasy alliance with Germany. So there you go. This book has some highlighting in pink in it. Somebody highlighted different parts of the book. This is a 2003 copyright. It's what the book looks like. And there you go. It's book number 2. Book number 3. I have actually read her book, Rebecca. It was a really good book. This is Don't Look Now by Daphne de Maurier. It says the author of Rebecca right on the front in The House on the Strand. I have read Rebecca. I have that book upstairs. This is what the book looks like. It's like a linen type feel. This is actually a 1971 copyright. See, we got the decal pages. Cool. That's what it all looks like. There's Daphne. And this is what the book is about. A pair of grief-stricken parents and a strange set of psychic sisters whose vision of the future tragedy goes unrecognized. A young girl who attempts to fulfill her dead father's wishes and thereby discovers the horrifying truth about her own past. An engineer who becomes involved in an experiment that seeks to answer the question of death and the ultimate force of life. These are some of the characters whose strange adventures unfold with gripping suspense in a collection of 5 new tales by Daphne Demure. I think that's how you say her last name. Chilling and compelling, all of the stories contains elements of mystery and some of them a touch of supernatural in a very real and frightening ways. And together they represent Daphne at her very best. So there you go. There's book number 3. Book number 4, we have The Priest by Ralph McInerny. This is what the book looks like. It's got like a cross engraved in it. This is a 1973 copyright. There's the guy that wrote the book, Ralph. And this is what it's about. Father Frank Askew, 28 years old, returns to his home diocese at Fort Elbow, Ohio, from 3 years of graduate study in Rome. Expecting to be assigned to a seminary facility as professor of moral theology, instead his whimsical bishop sends him to the old downtown parish of St. Waldo's. A second assistant to a conservative older priest, initially disappointed, Frank, to his surprise, students find parish work, census taking the human problems of his parishioners challenging and satisfying. It is the summer of 1968, and the American Catholics are feeling the full impact of the Vatican II. Frank must deal with 2 conflicting concepts of the priesthood, the traditional one and the newer one, which is still seeking its shape. Exemplified by an attractive young rebel priest, a classmate of Frank's who falls in love with a nun and challenges the rule of celibacy. A sympathetic protest at the major seminary polarizes the facility into conservative and liberal factions, and student enrollment drops drastically. Caught up in the turmoil of personal doubts and ethical questioning involved in both laity and fellow priests, Frank Askew is brought by a series of crises to a personal crossroads. His niece becomes involved with the young seminarian. Frank himself is drawn to an attractive and troubled young woman in the parish. His hopeful plans for the parish school playground are thwarted by conservative pastors caught between TDM, a conservative organization of laymen, and a self-serving liberalism of the auxiliary bishop. By summer's end, nothing is the same for anyone, and the priest, Frank Askew, is chastened by experiences faced with the most difficult decision of his life, whether to stay in his vacation or, like so many others, abandon the priesthood and strike out on his own. So this is interesting. I think it's kind of like an unfolding mystery, so that's why I stuck it in. The action and suspense. So that's 4. Number 5 is called The Appeal by John Grisham. It's what the book looks like. This is a 2008 copyright. It's in good condition. This is what it's about. In a crowded courtroom in Mississippi, a jury returns a shocking verdict against a chemical company accused of dumping toxic waste into a small town's water supply, causing the worst cancer cluster in history. The company appeals to the Mississippi Supreme Court, whose 9 justices will one day either approve the verdict or reverse it. Who are the 9? How will they vote? Can one be replaced before the case is ultimately decided? The chemical company is owned by a Wall Street predator named Carl Trudeau, and Mr. Trudeau is convinced the court is not friendly enough. With judicial elections looming, he decides to try to purchase himself a seat on the court. The cost is a few $1 million, a drop in the bucket for a billionaire like Mr. Trudeau. Though an intricate web of conspiracy and deceit, his political operatives recruit a young, unsuspecting candidate. They finance him, manipulate him, market him, and mold him into a potential Supreme Court justice, their Supreme Court justice. The Appeal is a powerful, timely, and shocking story of political and legal intrigue, a story that will leave readers unable to think about our electoral process or judicial system in quite the same way ever again. I think I had this book before, too. I had 2 copies of it. But anyways, there's book number 5. Book number 6, we have A World of Profit by Lois Auchincloss. I guess that's how you say that name. This is what the book looks like. It is a 1968 copyright, and this is what it's about. And I always go through all the pages, make sure there's none ripped and all that good stuff, if you're an avid reader. Okay. With A World of Profit, let's see, let me get to the story. The tale of Manhattan interweaves the fates and fortunes of Shawcross family. For 300 years, members of New York society and of J. Livingston, nay Livermore, a product of the world profit of the 1960s. The Shawcrosses live in uncertain influence in their fading ancestral home on Long Island. To them, it embodies the heritage to which they cling. To Jay, the ground on which it stands represents the bedrock of a potential real estate fortune. But more than business deals soon connect members of the Shawcross family, and brilliant financial entrepreneur young Sophia Shawcross struggles with her attraction to Jay as she fights to retain her vanishing heritage. Martin Shawcross sees in Jay a daring business acumen he lacks that might reestablish dwindling family fortunes, and glittering social Ellie is dazzled by his forced masculinity. A gamble for high stakes ends in disaster and unalterably changes the lives of all. The record of the Shawcross family can be read in Wall Street. It can be read in analyst appointment book. It is a record of love, pride, greed, infidelity, divorce, suicide, and seductive smell of money. And at its core is the story of men and women who move irresistibly together, then apart, yet are always contained in the inner orbit of the world of profit. So that sounds like an interesting intrigue. So that's 6. Number 7, we have Counsel for the Defense by Leah Matera. And this book is a 2000 copyright. It has no jacket. And this is what it's about. This collection of 9 stories, personally selected by Leah Matera, features Dead Drunk, the short story that won her the Shamus Award, and Dream Lawyer, with Matera's popular hippie-turned San Francisco lawyer, William Jansen. In the title story, defense lawyer takes on her ex-husband as a client that is charged with killing his second wife. A mushroom expert unwillingly serves poisonous wild mushrooms and destroying Angel, and a new wife faces a dilemma when her husband has a stroke and do not resuscitate. To free his sister from a psychiatric hospital, brother threatens to blow up Grange Hall full of his neighbors, and if it can't be true, these stories will rest will entrance you, entertain you, and keep you awake at night. That sounds very interesting. So there you go, number 7. Number 8, we have The Street Lawyer by John Grisham. That's what the book looks like. It is a 1998 copyright. It's got aged and a little bit of a bent page. This is what it's about. Michael was in a hurry. He was scrambling up the ladder at Drake and Sweeney, a giant DC firm with 800 lawyers. The money was good and getting better. A partnership was 3 years away. He was a rising star with no time to waste, no time to stop, no time to toss a few coins into the cuffs of panhandlers. No time for a conscience, but a violent encounter with a homeless man stopped him cold. Michael survived. His assailant did not. Who was this man? Michael did some digging and learned that he was a mentally ill veteran who'd been in and out of shelters for many years. Then Michael dug a little deeper and found a dirty secret that involved Drake and Sweeney. The fast track derailed, the ladder collapsed. Michael bolted from the firm, took a top secret file with him. He landed in the streets, an advocate for the homeless, a street lawyer, and a thief. That sounds intriguing. 8. This is book number 9. Seen some better days there on that jacket. This is by Francis Parkinson Keys, The Explorer. Look at this inside cover. Woo! This is what the book looks like. But even those ragged jackets hold these books together. And this is a 1964 copyright. It's got the deckled pages on the edge. Cool, cool book. And this is what it's about. Okay. The Explorer is a rich, compelling story of Nicholas Hale, a transplanted Vermonter, as persevering as he is personable. His inspiration is the great discovery of Machu Picchu in Peru by Hiram Bingham. Nicholas makes no claim to be a great scientist himself. He knows the meaning of clouds, mist, and rain, and stream and waterfalls, and can follow their lead all the way to a lost city submerged in a lake high among the Andes. Although he is extremely attractive to women, Nicholas has avoided marriage until his desire for a son to inherit his name and carry on his work impels him to propose to Margaret Porterfield, a lovely and aristocratic young Virginian whom he visualizes as the type of woman who would choose for his son, he would choose for his son's mother. Margaret's restricted means have obliged her to live so quietly on her beautiful ancestral estate, Hills End, and she's become a recluse and has largely withdrawn from the social and official circles of Washington, which were her natural milieu. Nicholas has long been her beau ideal, and she readily consents to a hasty marriage. 5 days before his departure on a fresh exploratory adventure in Peru, he tells her candidly she can never share his life there, that exploring is his only great passion, and that she will always be obliged to face protracted separations for him. But then he falls unexpectedly deeply in love with her. During the next 5 years, Nicholas is intermittently at Hills End. Most of his time is spent in the Andes searching for a submerged city whose discovery, if his hopes are fulfilled, will bring him lasting fame and fortune. But one disaster after another, a landslide, an infected wound, and finally an earthquake, cause repeated delays and discouragement. His determination to reach his goal never falters, but meanwhile, most inevitably, the separation from his wife has serious consequences as far as their personal relationship is concerned. It has been said there's always been a touch of fever in the Washington scene, and Margaret is not immune to it, nor indifferent to the admiration of a charming young Frenchman who becomes the director of East Lawn, the plantation which adjoins her estate. The outcome of both the love affair and exploration will hold Mrs. Key's reader spellbound to the last page. That sounds like an action and suspense type of book to me. So that is book number 9. Book number 10 and the last one in this lot is called Last Wish. Look at that sticker. That's just terrible. By Betty Rollin, author of First You Cry. This is what the book looks like. This is a 1985 copyright. And this is what it's about. 2 hours before my mother killed herself, I noticed she had put on makeup. This shocked me, but it shouldn't have. Whatever the occasion, my mother liked to look her best. That was just her way. Just as it was her way to die as she did. Not when death summoned her, but when she summoned death. What to do when your 76-year-old mother, who is dying too slowly of cancer, tells you she wants to commit suicide? What do you do when she asks you to help? These are questions that recently confronted Betty Rollin when her mother's bedridden in unrelenting pain to take ultimate control of her life. Last Wish is a heart-rending and searing honest story of how Betty answered these questions. Here is more an account of the mechanics and the ethics of such a death, told in a context of relationship between mother and daughter that was never ordinary. It is the first personal narrative to explore this controversial terrain. Casting light into the deepest reaches of our own humanity, this very rare book is a story of love tested, a life fully lived, and of death is victory. To me, that sounds intriguing. So that is the last book in this lot. And everything will be in the description below. And with that, whatever time zone you're in, I hope you're having a great one. I'll see you soon. Bye.